Welcome to the Success Revenue Podcast, the only podcast in the Middle East that brings you leaders in customer success, account management, sales, and go to market to share ideas, perspectives, and valuable learnings on how to successfully drive revenue, delight your customers, and take it to the next level.
We are your host. I'm Haider Al-Sad, the CEO of RepSetter, the modern customer management platform. And with me, I have my amazing co-host, Alfredo, CS executive, advisor, and speaker. And we're excited to bring you a long list of amazing guests this season on the podcast. And today's no exception. We're meeting with a tenured, experienced marketing and customer management leader that's worked in both large global companies and in startups and scale-ups. And she brings a great perspective to today's conversation. Some of the takeaways and topics we'll delve into will be around how companies in the Middle East, Turkey, and Africa region are leveraging marketing and customer engagement strategies and approaches. We'll also speak about some of the key customer success strategies that you can deploy and use as a leader in this space. And we'll, of course, delve into AI and AI insights and how that can help companies and customers elevate their insights, but also the actions and the way they connect with customers. Ivy, great to see you today. I'm excited about today's conversation. I think we're going to delve into a lot of really interesting things today.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited because Sweta, she actually went to the University of Houston, which I went to. So
That's right.
when I found her on LinkedIn, I was like, wow, like this is amazing. I can't wait to meet her. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to it. I find very interesting how customer success, or not customer success, but customer engagement platforms, especially in the Middle East, like the different sort of like things that they're doing for customers to help them provide a more consistent experience for their own customers. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm super excited to hear more of what she has to say.
Yeah, same here. And it's interesting, right? Like I think as we spent, 7, 8 months for myself, we spent a year and a half plus in the region. It's so clear that the difference in terms of how people engage and communicate and consume marketing here compared to the US, right? So in the US, we do it very differently. It's more flashy, more big. There's campaigns and there's all these different brand things. Here you have some of that, but there's also the simple like WhatsApp is what every business is using. So communication is coming through WhatsApp, and you're connecting with people, and it's the entry point to any conversation with your customer or potential customer. And it's just such a different dynamic that I find interesting. And it's going to be interesting to also delve into that today during the conversation, because I think, we have an expert in the space. So I'm curious to hear her thoughts on that kind of mobile first versus other kind of marketing first approaches that we see in some of the global markets. But yeah, that'll be interesting. And as just a funny side note on the WhatsApp stuff, Ivy, like before moving to Dubai, it was, I had some WhatsApp conversations, some friends abroad and stuff like that. Now, like my WhatsApp is full of, businesses and communities and people I communicate with and work stuff. And I'm like, it's like hard to keep track of everything in there because it's not very organized, as we know, for, day-to-day business. And I love several people be like, you just get like a business WhatsApp specific phone that you just do that in there, and then you have your regular phone and don't other things. Are like, yes, but also, I have 3 kids and a million things to do, so I can't run around with multiple phones all day anyway. So, but it's just such a funny thing. I'm like, my WhatsApp is now crazy, kind of Slack and Teams merge into one thing, and 6 months ago, I kind of barely used it.
That's so funny. I always use WhatsApp a lot. But I never saw so many businesses using WhatsApp. And actually, I've experienced that the experience is much better because you can actually have like click certain things when you're talking to a company. And interesting enough, I just had to do some sort of like assignment. And funny enough, I found out that WhatsApp is the most popular messaging app in the UAE. That was not a shocker, but that is actually used by 85.8% of the population monthly.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
Um, and in comparison to SMS, it almost feels like SMS doesn't have such a good of a open rate as
Yeah.
WhatsApp does.
No, definitely not. I barely use SMS or text messages with people here in the UAE. It's always WhatsApp, and yeah, it's just an interesting dynamic. I mean, it's even from a business perspective, one of the first regional specific moves that we did at RevSetter was Arabic language, and then the second thing was WhatsApp integration because it's such a key part of how business are working with their customers. And it was a key thing to really be regionalized in the Middle East to do it. And it's not a it's owned by Meta and Facebook, and their technologies are
Hmm.
not the easiest to work with, let's say, compared to some others out there in the world. But it was just such a critical thing because of how businesses are really dependent on it. So yeah, I'm excited to get into the conversation and obviously broadly talk about the martech space and customer engagement space with Sweta, but definitely I'm sure she'll dive into some of those nuances as well, which will be cool to listen to.
Yeah, should we bring her in?
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm excited. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Today's guest is a total force in the world of customer success and digital marketing across the Meta region. Sweta Duseja started her journey in Houston, Go Cougars, where she earned her master's degree in business, finance, and information systems. She then spent over a decade in the US, mastering every corner of marketing from product, channel, partner, and field. When she moved to UAE in 2012, she quickly saw that the mobile and the digital space were the future, and she didn't just adapt, she led. From being the entertainer's first head of digital to becoming the first certified Salesforce Marketing Cloud consultant in the region, Sweta has consistently been ahead of the curve. Now, she is a director of customer success at MoEngage. She leads a powerful team across the Middle East, Turkey, Africa, and CIS, driving real impact for customers and her team alike. Sweta, we are so excited to have you with us. Thank you so much for being here with us.
I'm
Welcome
so
to the show.
excited. Thank you very much. Very excited. Very excited to talk customer success. Very excited to talk digital. Very excited to talk team. Excited to talk about Middle East. We are literally the center of the world right now, right? As far as peace,
Yes.
progress, happiness is concerned.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. It's what that. So I'm just so curious and so eager to learn a little bit more about your story, your background, and a little bit of how did you actually ended up in customer success?
Thanks for the question. After you've read off everything that I've actually done and worked, I just, I'm like, how am I so young? But, that's another story, right? I think I fell into customer success. I didn't even know that such a career existed before I was asked to join Oracle as a customer success manager. So thank you, Oracle, for the opportunity and to opening my eyes because I always felt there was something beyond doing and executing marketing for digital, non-digital, events-based at companies, right? There had to be something more beyond that I wanted to deliver. After you've been working for about 10, 12 years, you just feel like you've amassed enough knowledge that you can hopefully make a difference in other people's lives and careers. And the expertise can also help other companies. So that's where sort of, I looked at uh, doing customer success. And it was really up my alley because it also offers the path into consulting, right? You are still in charge, and the nice thing is, in my learnings as a consultant as well, you've got to go and spend just as much time generating business plus delivering value, right? It's not a one or the other unless you're working with a consulting company. But if you're doing your own kind of thing and you're trying to figure out sort of how to make a business out of it, consulting is just as much sales oriented in terms of selling engagements as it is then delivering the value that you promised. Customer success leans on delivering value, you know, and in most environments within tech companies specifically, you're given your customers, you're given the list of customers you're going to go after. So it becomes such a nice way to actually deliver value. It's a great way for people to transition from lots of different avenues within corporate, whether they've been solutions consultants, whether they've been in sales, whether they've been in support, technical support, whether they've been in product. They can all come into customer success because there's a innate there's so much detailed information and wisdom about the product that they're supporting within a certain set of customers. So it was a very enlightening but very gratifying move into customer success.
Beautiful. And Sweta, tell us a little bit more about your journey at MoEngage, what your position is, and what has been your journey.
I'm really excited about MoEngage. We're based out of and headquartered out of Bangalore, India. It's the very first Indian company that I've worked in because so much of my experience comes from having worked in the United States as well, which is where I also went to University of Houston. Go Clyde Drexler. We love that basketball team, but it was an opportunity that was given to me on a silver platter, and so I treat it that way. And I think, just one nugget of wisdom: grab opportunity with both hands, and then just drive it as far as you can. You never know when you're going to be given such a wonderful opportunity over and over. How many times does that come through within your career? So we were given the charter to actually break ground after MoEngage already had a few customers in the region, a small number of customers in the region, mainly across Saudi and the UAE. We wanted to, they had this vision of making it into a thriving, significant contributor as a region across their portfolio, right? So we hopefully have been able to deliver that. I've been at this company now for about three plus years, and we've grown at the rate of 150% year over year, and we've been able to sort of maintain and exceed expectation in terms of customer retention to the tune of like 97.5% year over year, right? So that means these are just completely unheard of customer retention numbers. I hope everybody is jealous of us because we work extremely hard. But we also tend to make sure that we really take care of our customers, and we're delivering on multiple fronts. And that's what it takes.
I love
Uh,
that, Sweta. And with you being the director of customer success, I'm sure you're also one of the main reasons why you guys are also achieving those sort of numbers.
Actually, I'm going to give 100% of the credit to my team. We're spread over all the way from Egypt all the way to Bangalore. So we've got lots of people between there, one point and the other in customer success. We're a significant team looking after a significant region, and everybody comes to win every single day. And what that means in the world of customer success actually is making sure that the customer is winning. It's just that simple. Whether it's, my email template isn't rendering in the right color, to improving performance of every single push notification sent out, to inspiring people to better design communications, to strategy around like, hey, how should I look at WhatsApp as a channel, right? Or how am I going to reduce my overall spend on paid media by doing better marketing or communication through MoEngage? So these are just like some of the overall questions that the team answers every day on a daily basis with every customer. um, Make sure like their experience with us is just as smooth as butter, to be honest.
Yeah, that's great, Sweta. And it's definitely right. You hit it the nail on the head, as they say, in terms of it's all about delivering that value for the customer. And if they're successful, then the team will be successful. And it's a lot of work and strategy and execution that goes into that. But once you do it and you find a structure and a process to do that efficiently over time and consistently, then you can achieve amazing numbers like you guys. So that's awesome to hear as well. And kind of piggybacking off that a little bit, Sweat. I was kind of looking at it, right? You have a lot of experience within the Meta region, and for those of our listeners that don't hear Meta that often, the inclusion of Turkey there as a specific market makes it Meta instead of MENA. There's a lot of acronyms out there, but just for our audience there. So you work extensively across the regions, the Middle East, Turkey, parts of Africa, etc. I'm kind of curious, like when you look at customer success in general in the market and the Middle East, maybe in particular, how do you feel that's developing? Where is it today? And how does it compare to some of the global markets, right? You have experience, like we do as well, from other markets in the US and beyond. What are you seeing in the Middle East market in particular when it comes to customer success?
So I'll just answer the question just a little off kilter, which is America invented marketing, pure and simple. I doubt that there is any other community that is better at that than the Americans, right? It's showmanship, it's packaging, it's pricing, it's bringing to market the go-to-market motion. It's so beautiful when you look at like how American companies typically do that kind of thing. Um, because they were the pioneers of the art and science of marketing, they also invented things like uh, email. They also invented SMS. Um, and then suddenly you've got this phenomenon because mobile phones, even though Apple was the one that introduced the whole movement around mobile phones, you can see companies like Samsung, Huawei, and so many others in general take over a chunk of that market, right? Now the interesting thing is previous kinds of marketing and internet connectivity was initially land bound, right? So the US also invested in a lot of that infrastructure. Whereas when the internet became ubiquitous to our side of the world, we just leapfrogged. We were like, no, it's going to be all wireless. And the mobile phone took over. And this is how, in general, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Japan, Australia, if you take a look at beyond Western Europe, our infra is actually better, more advanced in the mobile side, wireless and mobile side of things, right? Which is why we've actually leapfrogged when you look at our side of the world versus the West. Mobile marketing is extremely key, right? Email, some of the more traditional channels, they work even now. They're the best performers on that side of the world. On our side of the world, push notifications. It's a big divide. We may not think of it as such, when we're a little removed, but you suddenly realize the power that a company has if they do things right. They are sitting in the palm of their customers at any given time. This is a huge differentiator. We will always also be, even though a lot of the social media companies are US based, our adoption of them because of our proclivity towards mobile is much higher. If you look at like TikTok users and the volumes, of course, we're looking at other we're looking at like geo issues like declining populations mainly, right? In the West as well. So then they get stuck onto some of the older social media platforms. But if you look at the volume of TikTok users, we probably outnumber the Western population 2 to 1 when you start taking a look at it from Africa onwards for the rest of the world, right? So
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
TikTok may not figure as a part of a strategic initiative for a company maybe that's based out of Canada. But you can bet your bottom dollar on it that TikTok is definitely under consideration for a customer in Saudi, like a company in Saudi, considering reaching their customers more effectively. So there are so many little things that you have to keep track of when you're thinking about like digital marketing, customer success. And the reason I put this together is because what I expect customer success to be extremely knowledgeable about serving the meta region, which is Africa, Turkey, the Middle East and beyond, is you better know your fundamentals, right, in mobile, right? And iOS and Android and some of the other, smaller operating systems that are out there, which actually then skew us in one way versus like having great fundamentals in SMS and email marketing for other countries, right? So that's where you have to start making a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think it's translatable as well in terms of other industries and other types of technologies or verticals. If we look at, you spoke about from a fundamental perspective on mobile and how that translates and marketing. But as you look at other, it can be fintech, HR tech, it could be
Yeah,
traditional industries. If you understand those fundamentals, then you understand, okay, what are the type of integrations that are required in the Middle East versus in the US? What are the type of product features and solutions that we need here versus there? And there's definitely a divide, and that's, I think, a really good point, because that's the essence of customer success: understanding the business, the fundamentals, and how you create value with that context in mind. So I really like that. So that's a very, very good points. And it sounds like when you're speaking about this as well, right? You speak about it passionately, and I'm kind of curious. Your role today as, director of customer success, and you've been in CS now for a while. What is it that really fascinates you about the role, about customer success in itself? Is there anything in particular that kind of inspires or fascinates you within that context?
yeah. I love interacting with customers, executives. I'll tell you why. Um, they teach you so much about their business every single time they speak. There is so much information that they have to process to really get to, like, what are the goals that I'm going to help my business achieve? Why am I a chief data officer? Why am I a chief information? And what do I need to get my business to win? It's so inspiring to be able to connect with those leaders, to be able to listen to those leaders, and to be able to um, sort of process and then deliver information about your own contribution to their success, right? That's something that I'm really passionate about. But I'm also, what really gets me up every morning is the fact that I'm going to learn something new, and I'm going to help somebody, hopefully inspire another company to go try out something different, go design something different, go architect a brand new strategy to, speak with your customers, right? I don't get up every day trying to do the same thing. I try to come in and I want to inspire you, and then you get excited, and then you go do something really fun for your customers, right? If we are able to give back as customer success professionals in that way, maybe that inspiration carries through. But it's definitely, I love customer success because there's always something new on the horizon. Somebody's introducing a new product. Somebody's changing the way that they're running, CSR initiatives. It could be that they're going to market with something that's going to benefit the world. Then they've come up with, I mean, it runs the whole gamut, right? And it could be really wonderful when the times and the economy is on the upswing, or then, how do you actually help businesses become more efficient? And for me, that means more about not doing more with less. It's actually doing more with more. How do we get every person within our customer family to become experts at what they're doing, so that they're adding value when times are up, when times are down? I want every single customer contact that we have to be an expert, so that their value is felt whether times are good or bad. If we can get to that, it's so, so great. These are lifelong relationships. You know how things are in the Middle East, right? Everybody knows everybody. You continue to go from one company to another. You take those experiences with you, with the partners that you've had, and you want a month, you want those times to continue. So, that's sort of like the ethos of what our team and I myself sort of, adhere to.
Wow, Sweta, I love that. I can see the fire. I see how passionate you are about customer success. So it's intoxicating. I got really excited hearing you talk. Sweta, and I'm just kind of curious, with all your experience in the Meta region, what sort of cultural nuances have you found most important to consider when developing customer success strategies for the Meta region?
The one thing that I will look to for our region, and I love it about our region, is people really appreciate the personal and the human interaction. They really want you to come to their offices. They really want you to spend time with them, not over a Zoom call, not only when it's time for a weekly meeting. They just want you to drop in and maybe have a cup of tea, right? And we tend to spread ourselves out and travel and meet customers all the time. I think it's so important in this world of digitization, robotics, AI. You can throw any amount of technology. All we see to a great extent is people continue to get isolated, work from home, don't come to the office, do a lot over the computer, do a lot of talking on the phone. And then yet, if you're able to make time and sit down with somebody face to face, the amount of learning and transfer of information and just that human connection that is created, phenomenal. And there is nobody better understanding and delivering that than our Emirati brothers and sisters and people from KSA and actually the JCC in general, right? Very
Yeah.
warm, uh, very inviting, very cordial, and business is a side effect, which is such a blessing because you can get cultures that are completely on the opposite end of the spectrum, which is like yeah business. 1 to 2 p.m. is the call, and that's what they'll get on the call, they'll speak to you, bye, speak to you next week. Our cultures it is and then I'm originally from India. And if you know anything about India, then you know a whole lot about apparently Egypt as well, because I've just been learning how common those cultures are based on our populations and based on some of the same geopolitical sort of you know Egypt is vibrant. It's got a huge internal economy. So does India. A lot of kids that are going to university, graduating with their first jobs, they still live with their parents. So do people in India. You look at, like, there's so many commonalities. So there's this hospitality that is experienced across our region. So we get shade from India and from Egypt across, right? So it's really a lovely melding, like a melting pot of culture. But I think the overarching thing is um, just the congeniality with which business is done. The relationship has to exist. It cannot purely be business.
Yeah.
So that's really lovely. I haven't
Yeah,
seen this anywhere else.
no, me neither, Sweta. I just moved here like a year and a half ago from the US. And yeah, I can see the difference between, like, over there is business first, then relationship, and here it's completely different. And just like you, I also feel like I'd rather much build that relationship, and then be the business to be a byproduct of how good that relationship was built. Um, Sweta, and you've worked with both established tech giants like Oracle and emerging companies like MoEngage. How has your approach to customer success differed between these two different environments?
It's not. I will. Look, I consider myself scrappy either ways. um, I will walk in, I will shake up your thought process, I will drop you a nugget of information, and I'll walk out, right? And I will learn and soak up as much as I can from you as well. The company I work for, you know, um, doesn't really matter because all companies make sure that they hire great people to be able to go do exactly that. Go deliver value and go learn as much about your customers as possible. The difference between an Oracle and MoEngage was only that it was Oracle, as the name of the company versus MoEngage. And I'll tell you why, because even when I was at Oracle, we were Oracle Marketing Cloud. It was still a unit within a very big machine, a very big profitable machine, right? So the resources that are made available to you maybe at an Oracle, maybe at a different scale than MoEngage. But then you get the other side of things, which is you don't really get to experience the difference that you've made necessarily in the very short term at an Oracle, whereas your results show up very quickly at MoEngage, right? And that's just a big company versus small company. So it's just up to the individual in terms of, are you ready to really make a difference? And actually, it's not even about you making a difference as an individual. Are you are you ready to witness the difference that you've made? Right?
Mm, mm. Yeah,
That's it.
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, that's great. I love that, and it's so interesting, right? Because when you think about different size companies, and I and I've talked about this a lot as well. We talked about today is the latest in terms of a role or a resource, and certain size company is very different and manifests differently than in a different type of size company, right? A global giant versus a startup, anything in between. The day to day and the activities can be very different, but the fundamental thing and the kind of the baseline of what you do in terms of working with customers, for example, is always the same. It's can create value. It's just how do you do it? What are the resources around it? But it's the same actual core principle. So that's where a lot of those things can transfer a lot. And if you kind of understand those core principles that you have or you should have within a certain role. So I love that perspective on it, Sweta. Very, very, very nice. And if we kind of kind of go a little bit from the human side and towards the technology side, and today everyone obviously the key thing out there is talking about AI and how AI is impacting different things. And one of the things I was curious about, given kind of at MoEngage, and as you're speaking today as well and talking about the different fundamentals, it's clear that a very data-driven approach and insight-first approach to making decisions and driving things. How do you see kind of AI and AI-powered agents and other things within the space impacting how businesses, maybe primarily in the meta region, will approach working with customers, getting insights with customers, connecting with them? How's AI going to play a role? I know it's already doing it at a scale today, but as we continue also moving forward, what's your perspective there?
so I think, it just depends on the size of the customer. And I think the fabric of each customer as well. Like every company is built differently, right? Everybody has their own culture. Some of them lean into tech. Some of them say, okay, let the dust settle, and then we'll see, who's doing what, and then go down that path. What that does from being a technology partner is having the capability to inject AI, if that's what we're talking about, everywhere and have it be available, right? So whether it's from a marketing technology perspective, am I using AI to better target my customers? Am I using AI to deliver better content? Am I highlighting defects in data collection through AI? Am I integrating automatically out of the box using AI with other tools that they may be using, other platforms that may be in use within an environment? Am I reporting using AI? So there's so many different things, right? So having it be available at an acceptable or an exceptional level, depending on what the ideology is, so that our customers have the option of using it or not using it, of adopting it or not adopting it. Of course, we will continue to educate, because I think here's the thing, right? um, a big portion of customer success is retention. A huge part of the retention is driven by a simple adoption. And the way this affects an employee, not just for MoEngage but even at customers, is, am I aware? Am I educated about it? So are you aware about it? Are you educated about it? Are you a novice or are you an expert? Right? And what does your job require you to bring in terms of expertise around AI? In speaking to a couple of the leaders, they were talking about the shock of AI into the system in terms of their teams. So, yes, they are going to lay off X number of people, but they are going to bring on people who can actually do that same job with AI, right? But you're not going to be able to, so the people that are coming on board are not going to be able to do it unless they are at least educated about using the AI tools, right? The job going anywhere. They're just being redefined so that the productivity per employee skyrockets. That's all it's ever been about, right? How do we improve productivity, and how do we go achieve our results?
Yeah. No, I agree with that, and I think it's one of those things where we were always looking at, as you said, for productivity, and with AI, we can scale that more than ever, and then you include the idea of AI agents, for example, and more autonomous agentic AI, and now you're able to actually combine productivity with better customer experience because you're freeing up the individual to do more proactive and value creating work through that. So I definitely think that will be the case. And I've talked about this many times. I see a future where you have 3 customer success managers today managing 300 customers, let's say. In a year, they'll be able to manage 3,000 customers because they'll have a team of AI agents doing a lot of the reactive, a lot of the admin work, a lot of the work that takes time and effort, and they can focus on actually just coming in where it's needed for those human interactions and for that growth stage. So it's about amplifying anything you do. AI just amplifies it. Good or bad, it's going to amplify it. So
Yeah.
I really agree with that perspective. And you mentioned adoption as well in that answer. I kind of want to spin it forward a little bit. Given, implementing customer engagement platforms, which is, I think, is a pretty good kind of baseline type of technology to implement compared to many other technologies around it. So it kind of translates very well to other things because it has a certain level of complexity, but still, more of a easy enough for people to implement and use. So it translates really well to a lot of the tech out there today. How do you guys go about ensure that adoption from kind of the onboarding phase and on? Is it an initiative from day one of how do we drive that adoption? Is it something that you kind of base off of data and triggers and understanding of where the customer is fluctuating? I'm kind of curious how the adoption and onboarding phase works for you guys.
Yeah. I can't speak to the specifics, obviously, at MoEngage, but
Of
I
course,
will
yeah,
speak
the
to things that
generalized case. Mhm.
either experienced as being a customer success individual contributor versus also a leader. I think there has to be a good connection, a good collaborative effort between multiple teams that touch the customer right upon the end of the sales cycle. Right now, we're getting into specifics about customer success and adoption. um, you know, where does the handoff happen? How smoothly does it happen? Does the customer even know that they've actually been handed over to a new team? Does the team that sold to them stay involved? How long? Are they implemented? Great. How large are they? Do they have a big enough team for everyone to swarm in and train them? Or are they a small team so they need to go through multiple different steps before, they're done with the technical side of things so that, you can train them? Once they're trained, we hear this refrain. I've heard this like throughout my career, with customer success. But train me. I'm like, on what? You know, what do I train you on? Right. So before I even get there, what is your idea of success? Um, and they take a pause. I would say about 95% of the customer that, what do you mean? Like, what do you want to achieve? Right. My first email typically usually comprises to the customer of, that has a quote from Alice in Wonderland, right? Where the Cheshire cat asked Alice, where do you want to go? And Alice said, well, I don't know. And Cheshire cat goes, then how does it matter? You know, how, wherever you go. So it's sort of a, where do you want to go? And based on that, then I can map out, right? My team can map out. I will map out your journey. I will map out everything about your adoption, your training, the use cases, how the messaging, the channels. But we'll build that blueprint the minute you get extremely clear about exactly what it is that you wanted a tech partner to deliver, right? And in that, they start understanding to a great extent as well. It's like, oh, this is the effort I will have to put in. It's not this imagination of I'm going to switch on a platform and it's going to suddenly deliver happiness. So there is definitely time spent success planning. There is also time spent around training and onboarding in terms of like How do you switch on the platform? How do you use it? What are the next 10 buttons that you press? What are you going to do with the buttons that you press? What is going to come out the other end? Is it going to be, a use case that's going to be targeted towards customers learning about your product? Or are you going to target them with the most relevant communications about some shoes they may have left in their shopping basket and gone away online, right? What is it? What do you want to get out of it? What do you need to demonstrate? Sometimes we get question, or we get requests from customers about really showing the power of digital to their executive management, right? And this typically happens in companies that may be supermarkets, not used to necessarily online shopping. We were working, and this was a couple of years ago, we were working with the public library. They wanted to improve the checkout rate of books, right, from the library. Very interesting, right? What a beautiful, I mean, these are kinds of things that you're like, oh, great. It's not commercial. It's actually community based. And they really want to affect how much people read. And they invested in a special membership with one of the book delivery organizations that had them bring in the first 100 copies of the books that were published. And, so there's so much that can be done, but what is it? And it's worth talking to the leaders about what's your dream, and how does that break down into the tiny little email that finally goes out to the customer.
Yeah,
So
I
that
love
very
that.
important. Use cases built on top of that. There's a method behind the madness in terms of the business reviews that are either done on a monthly level or a quarterly level, depending upon the preference of the customer, and then a rehash of the success plan every year, right? Because this year's goals and vision may not be the same as next year's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
love
that
that.
makes it continuous. So I don't care necessarily, when customers are looking at it and saying, "Oh, I'm only using 40% of the platform." I'm like, that is not the ethos. The ethos needs to be, I needed to achieve that. Did I achieve my financial goal? Did I achieve my engagement goal? Did I achieve what I was setting out to do? And hopefully the answer is a lot of the times yes. So now let's figure out what you want to achieve more.
Mm.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that, Sweta. And it makes me think, I'm curious to find out if there's any sort of like framework or mental model you find yourself returning to often, whether that is for structuring customer success initiatives, leading teams, or even navigating some of like the stakeholder conversations.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll speak about it in general terms, but people are more than welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I can send some stuff across as well. But what I've done is, I want to shout out to the Oracle team that I was working with, pretty brilliant, where they came out with a maturity assessment, right? That's very important as a concept. Before you walk into the customer, like, what are you going to talk to them about? Because if you start throwing jargon, regardless of the industry that you work in and you're a customer success manager for, if you're going to walk in and start using industry jargon and you're getting blank looks, they probably are not that mature, right? They've gotten excited about the technology they're about to deploy, you know, understanding exactly where they are at in terms of their expertise today, very important. The other thing is then doing success planning at multiple levels, right? Have the wherewithal to sit down with the EVP, the CXO, the vice president, the head of whatever department you're working with, and do success planning, and do it at all those levels, right? When management actually gives you their feedback and their excitement grows with the vision that they've given you, and you're able to bring them all back together and say, you know what, guys, I've now interviewed like 4 people in your organization, and everybody's given me their goals and vision for the year in terms of what they need to deliver for success. Everybody shows up because everyone's like interested in like, oh, what did they say? What did they say? What is success going to look like at the tactical level? What is it going to look like at a strategic level? What is it going to look like when I've got to take that information up to the board of directors? Right? Very powerful, right? Then you can actually look at it and then say, okay, you know what, guys, now we're going to do use case planning based on your success plan. So the success plan template is very, very critical. The assessment, the maturity assessment template, very critical. And then you do your use cases. Now, if you put all of that together, right? you're probably going to see, you know what, I need to staff the team up here. I need AI to help me here. These are my blockers within the organization. These are my enablers. This is where I need to spend time on my team and make sure that they're trained. So much gets answered, right? And while it may seem like, oh, we're launching XYZ, we're launching a WhatsApp strategy. I mean, the number of things that it touches then within the organization for a customer could be quite a bit. But what the customer success person, the professional has done is A, they've become a strategic advisor. B, they've become a consultant, whether they liked it or not, whether they like it or not. But most importantly, you have started to eradicate blind spots. The I don't know what I don't know section of information. That is probably the most dangerous and the most valuable, right? And if we're able to package that up cleanly for customers and say, did you even know that this was going to be an issue? Or did you even know you had this advantage? They love that stuff, right? That's what they bank on, because those are the aha moments that they're then able to inform upwards as well, which lead to great change and efficiency, basically. But those are the,
Well,
I would say, very, very like tactically, those would be the three pieces. The other one that you can actually do as you progress with, working with customers, build an account plan, right? Show it to them. Like, is this right? Am I mapping everybody? Have I said hi to everybody in the organization that's on this plan? Is there anybody else on this within this account plan that we're missing? Right? Have we captured like cross-departmental goals as they affect and impact our area? That way you're also increasing a little bit of influence and making your main sponsor within the account also, be like, hey guys, I have an opinion, right? And that's all based on what customer success is bringing to them.
wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's such a good framework with the assessment piece, the success plan, the use cases, account plan. It's a very strategic way to break things down from strategy and goal setting to execution and tactical initiatives that need to happen, and kind of a red line across that whole process. So I love that framework, and that's I highly recommend that people reach out and get some of those tips and tricks from you directly as well over LinkedIn. Awesome. So Sweta, we're coming towards the end of our conversation. It's been time's been flying by. So many interesting things and insights. I'm kind of just like digesting everything that you've been sharing with us and the audience, which is awesome. So what we like to do towards the end of our episodes is we'll do kind of a lightning round of questions and answers, quick questions, quick answers, to kind of wrap things up. So, also, are you ready for the lightning round here today?
I feel like I'm on a radio show. Let's go.
Exactly. We're, yeah, you're in Houston, so this, yeah, think about this as the local radio show here. So we'll kick it off then because it should be pretty straightforward here for you, I hope. So first question, we'll start off simple here. What's currently your favorite content to consume? Favorite book, podcast, anything else?
I think anything around wellness, mental wellness is a huge hit. And then I actually follow a couple of economists as well as I love learning about the economy and Arabian radio network. So Arabian, Gulf News, Arabian Business Network,
Yeah,
just about the business wise about the region. So it's not a specific answer, but those would be my main topics
yeah.
to sort of plug into.
Awesome, awesome. That's great. All right, second one here. Any favorite person or persons to take inspiration from, learn from, and any one or ones in particular you want to shout out?
I'm a fan of the startup world, so I'm always like sort of heads down in that field. From a corporate level, I actually really admire all of my managers. So I won't name anybody in specific, but not that there's too many. But I've had wonderful leaders come through my life as well. So I'm a huge follower of them on LinkedIn as well. So you can check out who I'm following there.
Great. Awesome, awesome. All right, and then last one from me before I hand over to Ivy is there great idea or concept, something new that you've heard as of late that you found really interesting?
I do. I think this whole concept of uh, mastering AI is sort of really nebulous to me. But I think I would encourage everybody to at least dabble in learning how to prompt AI, and starting to sort of learn how to work with it. I think it's going to become a very critical skill up and down the supply chain of value, regardless of the industry that you're in. And that has caught my attention as well. And like practicing and honing the usage of AI for your own job, your own help your teammates, help improve productivity, and improve it for yourself on your own job, and talk to your customers about how you've been using it as well, right? So just the tactical use of AI, I think, dive in. That's one of the things that I would definitely tell people.
Love it. That's great.
Love it. All right, Sweta, I wanted to ask you, what is one life philosophy you like to live by?
Um, it changes, I think, as you grow older. But go for it. Go for whatever it is. I think, especially if you're starting out, nothing is off the table in terms of, you can accomplish what you set out to do. It's very inspiring. And I think there are a lot of people out there already sort of going out and getting it done, whatever it may be. I think as you grow older, I would say listen to your heart a little more. And that applies to, sort of, um, leading with heart, understanding with heart, connecting with heart. Even in business settings, people relate to authenticity, and that's very important. Um, and the more, I think it finally sank in, but listen a lot. Listen, talk half as much as you would. Listen more. People
Mm,
appreciate that.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
that's great.
And Sweta, on the weekends, what are you up to? How do you like to decompress?
I have always been a huge fan of yoga. So if you haven't tried it out, definitely give Ashtanga yoga a try. I think it has transformative power. I think for me, getting out, regardless of the weather in the Middle East, and walking my dog every morning at 6 a.m., regardless of what the temperature may read, is extremely important. It gives me a chance to step away, uh, connect with the earth, and ground oneself before you start walking, getting back into work, because it's turbulent today. It'll be turbulent tomorrow. It'll be up and down the day after. Grounding, taking time out for yourself, listening and reading and watching calm things, very important. And definitely, health is wealth. It'll last you a lifetime.
Beautiful. Wow, Sweta,
Awesome.
it has been. So, this is probably one of my favorite episodes. I've really enjoyed your energy, I've enjoyed your wisdom, and I'm truly, truly so grateful that there is so much talent in the Middle East, and that we invited you onto the podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
And
Thank you,
thank you for
Sweta.
what an what that was the best, like 47 minutes.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Sweta. It's been great having you on. I look forward to more conversations here in the future. Thank you.
Best of luck, guys. Talk to you soon.
Talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
We want to thank our sponsors for supporting the Success Revenue podcast. RevSetter is the #1 customer success and management platform in the Middle East region, offering global capabilities mixed with regional solutions that helps your CS, account management, and go-to-market teams 10x efficiency, improve customer experience, and turbocharge customer retention rates.
And thank you to Medlify, a leading marketplace. Workers and employers in the healthcare space needs and demands meet to create benefits for both sides. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.